What's going on there, guys? My name is Matt, or Chewy as most of you will know me as, and today I am bringing you another full flight P3D video. Yes, I'm afraid to say we are back in the 777. I do apologize for that, but I am very excited about this flight. I've got some new scenery which I showed off on the stream the other day, and it is gorgeous. So today we are taking China Airlines 3 from San Francisco to Taiwan. There's some awesome scenery by PIS, and of course we are at FlightBeam's KSFO, which is absolutely gorgeous scenery in itself. You can see here comes the baggage ready for boarding in the 777. I've already got all of the doors open and everything, so passenger boarding can take place. I've loaded in the fuel and the weights and everything, and we can start to set up the aircraft. So into the flight deck we go. Here we are. Not much has gone on. As I've said, I've loaded in the fuel. Today we are taking a humongous amount, 91.6% of the load level, which is 133,381 kilograms of fuel. And then our zero fuel weight today is 206.5. We are loaded in on VATSIM. There is no ATC at the second, but we are on VATSIM, and so we may see a bit of traffic elsewhere. Right, let's pop the door page actually on the upper page here, and then down the bottom we can pop the checklists, and then yeah, let's pop the statistics page up there, and that should be fine for now. Onto the overhead, we just need to pop the ADIRUs on, the emergency exit lights. I also need to turn the battery on there. Upper and lower recirc fans can go on, and then we're going to be beginning boarding soon, so we'll pop the passenger signs on. And that should all be good down the bottom. I don't need to do anything else down there apart from the pre-flight checklist, which is just simply going to be oxygen. And then we can't actually do the flight instruments yet just because of the IRS, but we have got a QNH today of 29990. We are in inches, of course, in the United States. So I'll just pop that in there. That's absolutely fine. We can leave that as so. Whoopsie daisy. What have I just clicked? I've just clicked the wrong page there. That's absolutely fine. So just whilst we wait for the IRSs to align, let's go and take a look at this livery. This is Bravo India 8007. It's the China Airlines 777-300, and this is the Boeing China Airlines livery today. If I just go back to another view here, you should be able to see it. Here it is. Whoops, don't want to go through the building there. It is the Boeing livery, and it just looks absolutely gorgeous, I'm not going to lie. Boarding has commenced, so we can start to get things underway in the flight deck now as soon as the IRSs are aligned. I will leave a link down in the description for this livery if you do want to pick it up yourself. It is one by good old Tavers, Textures by Tavers, where most of my liveries do come from. And yeah, it's a really, really nice livery, so I'm more than happy to be flying this absolute beast of an aircraft today. Right, okay. Nav inertial, enter inertial position has come up now, so let's head down to the FMCs and start to plan things in. Today we are at KSFO, otherwise known as San Francisco. I'm not going to worry about the gate too much, although we are at gates Golf 98, and then the inertial position can just get popped into there like so. We'll do a route request and pick it up from here. So KSFO to RCTP. RCTP, of course, being the ICAO for Taiwan. I can't pronounce the whole name of the Taiwan airport. I do apologise as well if I sound a little bit husky. I am under the weather still. I actually had to cancel a stream today halfway through just because I felt so rough. But I haven't done a full flight video in what feels like forever, and I felt so guilty that I didn't put any content out that I decided to make a video. Anyway, 28 left for departure for the runway, and we are CAL3 for the flight number in there. Activate and execute that. Departures and arrivals, as I just said, runway 28 today, and our first waypoint is Mullen, so pretty simple. It's the Mullen 8 departure, and that can get popped into there like so. We'll do a per-finite request. This is why I absolutely love this 777, is you can just do a per-finite request and it loads in all of the information for you, and you can pretty much just click accept and it does the job. We will double check the stats though, just to ensure that everything is correct, especially on a long route like this. So zero fuel weight, we said that earlier on, 206.5. All the fuel is in there as well. We are initially cruising at 300. I don't know what China use as a cost index, so we're just going to leave it at 100, and that's absolutely fine. We'll leave the step sizes RVSM and just let it do its own thing. I may pop in the step climbs myself, but I'm not, you know, I do quite like leaving the 777 to do its own thing because it seems to be okay with it. Right, thrust limits. We've not got any D rates today, but I've got Topper here. Now, let me show it. I'm going to bring it onto the screen and show you guys what Topper is. It's a really, really good bit of software for the 777-300. Unfortunately, TopCat, which is what I use for most of my takeoff performance, doesn't include the 777-300ER variant. So what I've got instead is this Topper calculator, and you can see here we've got all of the information which I've already popped in. So we've got the airport, the flap setting, the runway, and all of the wind components and everything, the weather components, our takeoff weight, and we're going to be aiming with a V1 of 168, a VR of 175, and a V2 of 180. So there's no D rates, as I said, and it's a selected temperature of 30 degrees. So I'll pop that back over to the side, and we can just pop 30 degrees centigrade in there like so. Takeoff, flaps 15, center of gravity into there like so. In terms of thrust, we'll do thrust 1,500, and then we'll do an acceleration of 3,000 like so, and that should be fine. And in terms of everything else, let's have a look and see what the temperatures are like. So it's 19 degrees at the second for the temperature. Runway winds are just 18 knots. Oh, actually, can I just put the wind in there? It's like at the minute it's 210 at 18. Let me just see if I can pop that into there like so. Yeah, there we go. That's absolutely fine. And it is dry, and just a slope of 0 can go into there like so. That looks good. So let's pop in the speeds. Now, that is pretty much bang on what Topper said. We'll accept this anyway. Let me just pop the takeoff weight in. So it's actually 339.5 for there, which is going to delete the takeoff speeds, but we'll just accept them back in there like so. So we've got a V2 of 181 according to the FMC, so we'll leave that in like so. Right, very quickly we'll do the wind data request on the right hand FMC there, and whilst we'll do that, we'll move up to the top and let's pop in that V2. So we're going to scroll right the way to 181. I'm not too sure, as I said, what the runway, sorry, I haven't said it, but I'm not too sure what the runway heading is actually. So I'm just going to go onto the nav page, and then we'll just kind of pop it in as an estimate. I should have checked the charts before this, but as I always say, I was just a bit too lazy, and I'm not too sure what the initial climb is. We've not got any ATC here, so we'll just clear ourselves up to flight level 300, which is our initial climbing, initial cruising altitude even. Pop the flight directors on now. LNAV and VNAV can come on, and the auto brake can go to RTO. And then that is the MCP setup for the second. We'll head back down here, and we've been told by the right hand FMC that we can load in the winds. So we can accept those over there, and then we've got some updated winds. We'll go onto the VNAV page and just double check everything here. So yeah, transition altitude in America is 18,000 feet, so that is perfect. And then we'll go to the descent page. Now, I haven't loaded in the flight plan yet into Active Sky, so I'm not too sure if it's going to let me put in the descent forecast. Maybe it will if we're lucky, maybe it won't. We'll find out imminently, that is for sure. So let's try and load it in and pray to the flight sim gods that it will let us do it, and it will. It's playing ball today, which is what I like to see. Good, so I can leave us on the legs page there and pop us on the takeoff reference page there. And actually the only other thing that I need to do at the second is to check those step climbs. So the first step climb apparently is at Redwood. So let's go onto the legs page here just because it's a bit closer to the screen. And it's saying that we can climb up to 320 at Redwood, but not according to the FMC. I'm going to leave what's in the FMC instead of the flight plan, because I just trust the 777 to do it itself. I don't know, some people may decide to change it, but I just prefer to do it like that. In terms of the next step climb, it's wanting to take us to 340 47 north 60 west. I think that is, yeah, it's going to be doing it a bit later on there as well, so it's going to be taking us at 46 east like so. And then if there's another one, 360 later down the line, Yep, that's correct. That's got that in there. Wait, was it on the last page? No, it's on this one. Yeah, here we go. 40 East 50. That's absolutely fine. And then I think we may be climbing up to 380 as well, just before green. It's a bit later on here. It's saying 360. There we go. We're going to be going up to 380 at Jedi. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to touch it. I don't want to mess it up and potentially cause havoc with the FMC like I've done so before. Good. Right, that is the FMC's done. So let's go outside and see how we're doing with boarding. It looks like we're in good stead, actually. It looks like the boarding has completed with all of the baggage. So what we will do is we'll return here, go to the doors page, and we'll close up some doors for the cargo area, and you should be able to see them heading out there. And then we can go down here, and let's have a look at our before start checklist. So the flight deck door is not modelled. MCP, we've got a V2 of 181. The heading and track, I can't remember off the top of my head, and we're going up to 300. Takeoff speeds, V1, VR, and V2 are 164, 174, and 181 respectively. The CDU pre-flight is now completed. The trim is 0 because we've not got hydraulics. And then the taxi and takeoff briefing. So, taxi briefing. As I said, we're on stand Golf 9-8 today. I'm not too sure on the specific stand that they take here out of San Francisco. But in terms of taxiing, we're going to be pushing with our nose to the right and then taxiing down on Alpha. And we'll continue on Alpha all the way down here. And then let me actually just take this out. So here we go. We'll go down on Alpha onto Foxtrot. And then all the way down Foxtrot to 28 left. So it's a pretty straightforward taxi, nothing too crazy there. And as I said earlier on, it's the Mullen 8 departure. Ignore that kind of little circle thing there. I'm not too sure what it's there. It's a really, really simple departure, straight to Mullen, nothing too crazy out of 28 left. For those of you wondering what their software is, it says in the top left, it's Aivlasoft EFB. I get a lot of questions on my stream asking what this awesome software is that lets me see the ground like that and plan things. So there we go. There's the taxi and takeoff briefing for you all. And then the last thing that we need to do now is to pop the beacon lights on. So we will do so. Right, has boarding completed. It's still boarding the passengers apparently, which is a little annoying. I hope it's not going to take too much longer. But apart from that, we are good and done and dandy. So that's the before start checklist completed. Whoops, it's now going to pop that on there because I've clicked on the wrong page, haven't I? Like an absolute noob. Typical Chewy. And then everything should be set. So let's go up here now. And we'll pop the fuel pumps on. Obviously, we're having the center fuel pumps on. We've got a lot of fuel on board today. Packs can go on. And then even though we're boarding, it's really not going to be too much longer until departure. And so we will start the APU up. And then down on this bottom screen, let's get the statistics page up. And then we should see the APU coming alive. And that shouldn't take too long. Brilliant stuff. And so it's 22:49 Zulu. I am flying this real time at the second. I'm not too sure what time the flight actually departs in real life. But I'm flying it real time. So it is 10 to 11 at night in the UK at the second. There's the APU coming online. Again, if I zoom in and go down, you'll be able to see the statistics here of the RPM of it and the EGT and the oil temperatures and stuff as they start to rise and get the APU online. And then once the APU is online, we can get rid of all of the ground power and stuff and just wait for those last few passengers and get ready to board. Well, get ready to depart even. There goes that. Let's go and have another look outside, shall we? Apologies about the loaded in textures there for a second, but this livery is just absolutely gorgeous. It looks great. My friend Tom was supposed to be flying with me. He's one of the moderators on my Twitch chat, Tom the Pilot. Very generic name, I know, bless him. He was supposed to be flying. I'm not too sure if he knows what gate I'm at, though, because he was having issues planning the flight beforehand, and I just wanted to get in the air and start to get flying. So hopefully he gets himself online and can join us on the way down to Taiwan. It's beautiful scenery down in Taiwan, so I'm very, very excited for the arrival. It's definitely not one to miss. Okay, let's go back inside. APU is running now. We can see that on the upper ICAS. So what we'll do, actually no, we've got the doors open, so I shouldn't really take away the wheel chocks or anything like that. Tell you what, guys, I'm going to wait for boarding. I'll stop recording, and then through the power of editing, I'll come back once all of the passengers are boarded and we are ready to push back. So I'll see you in a few seconds. Okie doke, we are back and in the flight deck, and everybody is boarded and ready to go. So the tow truck is just in motion, and we can close the doors now and get ready for our pushback, which won't take too long. Let's arm the doors, make sure all of those are closed, and make sure everything's good. Right, I can take away that on that ICAS now. Let's go over to the nav page there, and then I'm actually going to take terrain, airport, and traffic on that right navigation display, and then we'll take airport and traffic on this navigation display. All the doors are closed, so we are done with that page. We can go to the ground connections page and completely get rid of all of that because the APU is on, and then we're actually done with that menu, so I can completely leave that clear and everything is looking good. Righty ho, let's have a look at things. Let's go onto the hydraulics page now because we are ready for pushback. Everything is looking fine and dandy. So whilst they're locking the gear and getting ready for the final pushback, we will start to pressurize the aircraft and get the hydraulics underway. And we'll set the trim once we've started both engines on pushback. Actually, I've just realised I've just popped the hydraulics page on there. I didn't mean to do that. Let's pop the hydraulics page down here just whilst we do that. Right, let's waste no time whatsoever. We can do the rest of the hydraulic as we push back. So we'll release the parking brake, and then here we go. Actually, I'm going to start this clock because I usually forget to do it. So we'll do the block time on the first officer's clock. Let's pop the last bit of hydraulics on, and then we'll be ready for this absolute marathon flight. I didn't tell you guys earlier on, but we are expecting a flight time today of a whopping 14 hours and 40 minutes. So yeah, it's going to be a long one, but it's going to be a good flight. I'm very excited to do it. I'm very excited to see the Taiwan scenery and show it off to you guys. Righty ho, I left the jetway there like an absolute noob. I always do that. I always do that. Hashtag blame Chewie in the comments for leaving the jetway there. Whoopsie daisy, we probably killed somebody doing that. But anyway, right, everything's pressurized. We're away from the terminal building now, so we can finally start the engines. Let's get these bad boys going. We'll wait for a bit of oil pressure, which we have got, and pop in the fuel. Let's go outside. I'm really getting annoyed with the textures loading in like that. I'm really not too sure why it's doing it. It's so weird. And I'll let you guys listen to number 2 engine start up as we get pushed back. Start a cutout on number 2. A couple of lag spikes to help us on the way, and we'll just wait for that engine to stabilize, which it looks like it has. And then we'll start the left engine once again, waiting for oil pressure, which we have got. In goes the fuel. I got a close-up view this time for this engine. Gotta see these bad boys up close. They do look amazing. And they sound even better. Right. Set the parking brake. I'll do that outside just because I don't want to disturb this amazing view. And there we go. There's number 1 engine online. Let's go back, have a look. Oh, what a view. That is screenshot worthy right there. I'm going to move back, and I think that's thumbnail worthy, that shot. Look at that. We have got American Airlines, but that's what happens when you park on a stand and you don't know who operates there. I don't think we were going to really find China Airlines anyway. Okay, let's go back into the flight deck because we've still got things to do. We've got a good start on both engines, so the engine display can go off now. And let's turn the APU off. We don't need that anymore. We're going to select flaps 1, flaps 5, and flaps 15. So that can go into there like so. And then the other thing that I need to do before I forget is set the trim, which today is right the way up at 6.75. So we'll just hold the pitch trim in place. 6.5, 6.75. Good. And whilst we're on the flight controls screen, we might as well do a flight control check. So, full left, full right, full up, and full down as well. And then on the rudders, full left and full right. And of course GSX is screaming at me because it accidentally sets the parking brake. Everything is good. Right, ground equipment is out of the way so we can pop the taxi lights on without blinding the guys over there. They are off, so that is all clear and everything is looking good. Let's go and do the before taxi checklist. Anti-ice is not required here. It's a lovely 19 degrees centigrade. Recall should just be the TCAS, which it is. Auto brake is on RTO. Flight controls we've just checked, and we've also just checked that the ground equipment is clear. So that is the before taxi checklist completed. Right, let's get this bad boy going then. 22:59, so bang on 11 p.m. is when we are taxiing and getting moving. Just listen to those engines spooling up. They sound gorgeous. I'm still no better at taxiing this thing than the last video I did on here, which was probably about 2 months ago. So, apologies in advance if my taxiing is a little rubbish. Oh, look, you even have an engine start point. That's pretty cool, I'm not going to lie. This FlightBeam scenery is just amazing. You should be able to see in the bottom right-hand corner the FPS that I'm getting at the second. And for those of you who missed it, I've got myself a GTX 1080. Oh yes, that is correct. A GTX 1080. Thanks to some amazing support on the stream. Wait, is that Alpha there? I think it is. So I think I want to be turning here. Yes, it is. I almost missed the turning for Alpha. That was a good start, Chewy. Yeah, for those of you who missed it, thanks to some amazing support on the stream. Wow. Chewy, what is this taxiing? I was able to pick up the 1080 and it's an absolute beast. It really is amazing. I'm thoroughly enjoying using it. There we go. That's a bit better now. We're on our way. So yeah, taxiing all the way down Alpha. We'll be taking one more right-hand turn and then going all the way down the length of the runway. 28 left is literally basically just in front of us, but it's 10 right here. But we'll be departing on this runway and coming back down this way. Let's not go too fast now. I don't want to absolutely bomb it round this corner. Looks like a roundabout almost. Quite a cool design. And yeah, as I said, taking a right, continuing on Alpha. I think we've come to KSFO before in a full flight video. I can't remember where from. I think it was one of the first ones that I did, if I'm not mistaken. And I parked somewhere just over here. But yeah, we arrived into it, so we've not departed from it yet. Right, we've got the warning, well not the warning, but the message on the upper ICAS that the cabin is ready and secure, which is definitely good news. So we don't have to wait for them after we had to wait so long for all of them to board. I don't know, maybe there was a passenger who was late, got lost in duty free or something. And let's go down to the lower ICAS now and do the before takeoff checklist, which is simply flaps 15. And that is the before takeoff checklist completed. Nothing much else there to do. What a view. Absolute beast of an aircraft, isn't it? It really is. I've got a taxi view, so I've never really used it too much before, so let's use it for a bit now. Why not? Why not in a YouTube video use it for the first time? Have a nice, you know, tail camera view for the taxi cam. It really kind of shows off the absolute, you know, enormousness of this aircraft when you look at it from a view like this. It's pretty ginormous, I'm not going to lie. It's weird that there's no other traffic around at the second, actually. I thought it would be quite busy here at San Francisco. Maybe I've just caught it at a weird time. Wow. It looks majestic on the ground, let alone when you pop it in the air. It really does. Right, okay. I'm taxiing slowly. Let's speed up just a tad. and not spend too much time just gawping at the aircraft. We need to get these passengers safely back to Taiwan. And so in a second, we'll be crossing 01 left and 01 right. So we have to be aware of those runways. Clouds are looking lovely today as well. Good old Aivlasoft clouds doing the job as usual. So if we had ATC here, obviously we'd have to get clearance to cross the runways, but I can see nothing on TCAS, and there really shouldn't be anything arriving or departing off these runways right now. The 28s are active, so there really shouldn't be any bother here. Can't see anything around at all, so we're good to continue across them. Good. RAS is working and is identifying itself correctly. That's always a good start to the day. And then we just continue down on here. Not too much further now to go. We're definitely over halfway. We just continue down here to the end of Foxtrot. And of course we are going to be taking the full length of the runway, especially with how heavy we are today. We would do anyway, but there's no doubt that we are today. If we didn't want to take the full length, then we could just go left here onto November. You can see on the signs just coming through in a second here. There we go, November. You can head onto the runway that way. Although I wouldn't advise it when we're this heavy in a 777. Feel free to try it. Let me know how it goes, but I'm not going to be that ballsy, I don't think, today. Just love the sound of this thing, the way that you can hear like the gear and everything rattling on the ground and the engines as you taxi. It's such a pleasure in every single respect. It's fun to set up, it's a beast to fly. It's really great. We did a really nice flight on my stream actually yesterday. We flew into Hong Kong from Taiwan actually, where we're heading now, and we had some air traffic control at Hong Kong, and it was amazing. There was about 9 of us and we all got vectored in. It was really good fun. The pleasures of the 777 with friends on VATSIM, hey? Right, I'm going to start to bring that throttle a bit back now because we are at about 26 knots ground speed and we are going to be making this turn, so I don't want to completely, you know, pelt it round. We will hold short just to set everything up and make sure that we don't miss anything. Shows how quickly it decelerates as well though. Look at that. I brought the throttles back to idle and in no space at all we've just lost every bit of momentum. I guess it's a testimony to how heavy we are right now. I'm wondering if it would be better just for our own sanity to keep going. There's no aircraft inbound. I'm going to pop the TCAS on TARA. But there's nothing inbound whatsoever on VATSPY right now. So yeah, let's just keep going for the sake of for the sake of the momentum of the aircraft. Because if we stop, we're really going to have to spool the engines up again. Right, let's start the clock as we enter the runway. Landing lights are on. Weather radar is on. Strobes are on. TCAS is on. We are cleared for takeoff, runway 28 left. There seems to be an absolute fit of fog that just decided to layer itself over the airport for a second and then disappear. So we're going to keep the aircraft rolling. 28 left is identified visually and on RAS. Here we go then. We're going to spool the engines up to about 50%. And then hit the magic button, otherwise known as toga, and whack those throttles all the way up. Look at that N1 display on the upper ICAS. Oh wow, what is going on with the clouds? Hello. Hello, active sky. Right, 104.9 N1 set. 80 knots is already checked. We are absolutely bombing it. We've got clouds that are just destroying the view. I'm not too sure quite what's going on there with active sky. We are bouncing down the runway with our crazy heavy weight. There is V1. We've got to take off no matter what now. 174 is the rotate speed. There it is. Pulling back on the stick. Oh my gosh, we used all of that runway. Whew. Positive rate of climb. Gear up. Farewell, San Francisco. My gosh, that was fun. Keep that nose rising. Look at the climb rate at the second. It's absolutely bombing its way up there at the second. This 777 doesn't mess around, I'll tell you that. Right, we'll stick the autopilot in now, mainly because I just want to go and absolutely gawp at the gorgeous views out the window, quite frankly. And then allow the speed. We do have a a speed restriction up until 3,000 feet. So once we reach that, we should be good to go. I'm also actually going to just take out any restrictions on there and do altitude intervene, just so we can climb at a nice pace. And there we go. We've got the speed bug up, so that is going to start to rise now. We've gone right back from our crazy climb rate. It's gone back to a more modest rating now, and it's realised how heavy we are with the flaps even come up. So what's going on there? Sorry about that. There we go. Let's go to this view, and then we can select flaps 5 now as we start to climb out from San Francisco. Absolutely gorgeous scenery. It really does look amazing, doesn't it? And we'll select flaps 1 as well. The beginning of a long 15-hour trip is underway. And then we're safe with flaps up as well. Now we should be. Very interesting there what was going on with active sky on takeoff. I've never ever had that before. Very interesting indeed. Right, flaps are up. Apparently we're going to be 260 knots below 10,000 feet. I don't think anybody's really going to care with how heavy we are, even though we should have that restriction. But we're climbing nicely. Everything's going well. I'm not too worried. We're in quite a bit of cloud at the second. It's pretty overcast right now where we are. Let's turn the runway turn-offs off. We don't need those anymore. It's in the daylight. We don't need to worry about anything like that. And we are climbing nicely. Beautiful views. Got a bit of weather up ahead. We should hopefully just be avoiding it when we take the right turn after the SID. Our first waypoint there at Mullen. I'll keep that zoomed out actually. And then we can keep an eye on the weather, see if we need to avoid anything on the way up. Let's go to the progress page. Top of climb should be at 23:26. It's 23:11 now. So about 15 minutes or so before we get up. Beautiful views out the window though. If I go to the front here, you can see the immersion effects again of Active Sky 16 on the windscreen. Got a good bit of turbulence as well, keeping the passengers awake as we climb. Hopefully they'll get some rest though on this epic journey. It's not going to be a short one, I'll tell you that for nothing. After takeoff checklist then I guess we should do. So landing gear is up, flaps are up, after takeoff checklist is complete. Nice and simple. They don't mess around, do they, Boeing? They get the job done. And look at that, 5,634 nautical miles. We're expecting arrival at 13:41 Zulu tomorrow. That is an absolutely ginormous flight. And we're still going to have plenty of fuel to spare. 130,000 kilograms of fuel in the fuel tanks at the second. Right, 10,000 feet is approaching. The landing lights can go off. All of that is there. The only other thing that I need to do now is wait for the transition altitude and set the standard transition at 18,000 feet. I mean, technically we could do it because we are clear to a flight level, but screw it. I'm going to do it at the time we should do. We're through 10,000 feet, so that speed restriction has gone now, and you can see the speed start to increase up to 320 knots, which means the rate of climb will drop back. Let's go and have a look again once more at the outside view as Rexoft Cloud looks absolutely gorgeous and guides our way up to cruise on the way to Taiwan. Welcome back to the flight deck, everybody. We are 13 hours and 52 minutes into the flight, still going strong just about, and we are not too far away from top of descent now. It's been over 14 hours since we pushed back and started the G90 engines on this beast of a 777, and it is not too much further until we get down on the ground. Just under an hour is what I'm going to be predicting. So we've got 170 nautical miles to the top of descent. I thought now would be a good time to start to plan the arrival and show you guys what arrival we're going to be doing into Taiwan and just get everything set up in the FMC initially. So I'll bring across Aivlasoft once again and show you the arrival. Today the active arrival runway at Taiwan, or Chiang Kai-shek, I hope I pronounced that correctly, International, is the Drake 1 Alpha. Yes, we have a waypoint called Drake. They've got some really cool and really weird waypoints and things in Taiwan. We've got Drake, Sepia, April, Fetus, Jammy, March. There's all types of really weird names. But yes, anyway, all the same, it's pretty simple. We're going to be coming in from the northeastern side, of course, and we're coming all the way around. If you have a look here, 05 right is just over here, so we're going to be landing on this runway down to the bottom here and then taxiing around. So it's the Drake 1 Alpha arrival. We'll be going to the western side of the airport around here, and then it's simply round onto the ILS like so. So a really pretty simple approach, nothing too crazy about it whatsoever. And you can see all of the details here about approach courses and everything, which will pop into the FMC and the MCP and all of that jazz in a minute. In terms of when we get down onto the ground, hopefully we're going to be able to vacate by Sierra 6. If not, we will vacate by Sierra 7. And depending at which one I vacate at will depend on which way we taxi. We've not got any ATC. So if I vacate at Sierra 6, we're going to take a left on Sierra 2. And then a right on Whiskey Charlie, another right on Whiskey Charlie, and then stand Delta 7, which is where this flight arrived into in real life the other day. And if we get off at Sierra 7, if we vacate there, we'll go right on Sierra 2 instead, left on Sierra 7, then Echo Charlie, and then on to November 7, on to the Novembers, and then down to Delta 7 again. So we're going to Delta 7, it's just which route we do. I would have thought coming off at Sierra 6 will be just that bit quicker, but it's really like nice scenery, so I don't mind the slightly longer rollout and the slightly longer taxi route if we do need to do it. Anyway, let's pop the arrival information into the FMC now. I will move down here. And let's go to departures and arrivals. As I said, it's the ILS for 05 right on the Drake 1 Alpha arrival, and Jammy is the transition, and that should go into there like so. We'll go to the legs page, and before we set anything else up, let's bring the range right the way back, and we'll go into the plan mode and just make sure that that's popped everything in correctly, because the last thing we want is to arrive there and for something really weird to come up. I'm just going to make that in a bit quicker, a bit more zoomed even. Yeah, as you can see, we just come round here on the downwind leg, then jammy is the start of the base leg as we turn on to finals, and it's pretty simple stuff. Perfect. That should be easy enough to do. Knowing me, I'll probably mess it up now, but hopefully it will be easy to do. Right, back down into the FMC then. That is all planned. We're going to be doing a flaps 30 landing today, which is giving us a VREF speed of 142. I'm going to go to the legs page very quickly again and just pop some range rings in. So we'll get the fix, and I'm going to pop my usual 4, 9, and 15 DME into there like so. So we'll get some range rings. Go to the VNAV page and then head to the descent page and go to the forecast page, and the transition level at Taiwan is 130, so that can get popped into there like so. Brilliant. That's everything that's good in there. We've checked the start, and we've got 182 now nautical miles, and we should be at top of descent at 1337 Zulu elite, and we should be arriving at bang on 2 o'clock on the 2nd. 2 o'clock. Hopefully we'll be getting there bang on time. I'm not too sure if that is a good time. I mean, how long have we been in the air now? 13 hours and 56 minutes, and we should be down in the next 45 minutes or so. So yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. This flight is just under 15 hours. Sometimes it can take about 14 hours and 40 minutes around that region. So we're not going to be too far behind on the schedule. Righty-ho. The next thing that we need to do is work out the QNH. So let's have a look at this again. I'm just going to double check that it's the correct one. Here's the 80s for Taiwan at the 2nd. So we've got 23 degrees centigrade. We're landing on runway 05 right, and winds are 50 at 23 knots. So we're going to have a 23 knot headwind bang on the nose of the aircraft. In terms of visibility, we should be absolutely fine. We've got a few clouds at 2,000 feet, broken at 4,500, but nothing too scary. QNH is 1022. I'm not too sure if they use hectopascals or inches in Taiwan, so I'm just going to go with hectopascals just because I'm so used to using that myself. So we'll switch it over on both sides. Whoopsie daisy. And then let's just pop that into the navigation display. So 1022, like so. Perfect. And then in terms of looking at the arrival, the decision altitude is 306. So we just have to scroll this down a bit. 300, so we'll just move it up a tad. 3056, there we go. That is in there like so. And then the only other thing that we need to do is the auto brake. We're going to be fine on you know, how heavy we are after a flight like this. We pretty much burnt off a lot of the fuel. We'll be landing with around about 14.9 tons remaining at the end of it, which is plenty if for whatever reason we need to go around or divert, but I highly doubt that that will happen. And the runway length is around about 3,900 meters, so we've got plenty of runway to go with. I could go with auto brake 2 just to try and get off at Sierra 6. Tell you what, let's do it. Screw it, we're not trying to save the brakes or anything here. I don't think it's really going to matter too much. We'll go with auto brake level 2, even though I could get away with 1, just to try and get us off at that earlier vacating point on the runway, as I showed you earlier on Aivlasoft of Sierra 6. And that's everything done. We are good to go. The final approach fix is 1,600 feet, so I'll pop that into the MCP when we are ready for our descent. And I'll come back, we'll do the descent checklist. We don't need to do that yet. So we'll do the descent checklist, begin our descent, and then make our way down into Hong Kong. Sorry, not into Hong Kong even, into Taiwan. It is going to be night, as you can tell. It's absolutely pitch black outside. If we're going to be arriving at 2 o'clock Zulu time, local time, that's going to be 10 p.m. So apologies, but it's going to be awesome to see what the Taiwan night lighting is like. And yeah, I will see you for top of descent, guys. Through the power of editing, we are back once again, 30 nautical miles from top of descent and ready to go down. 14 hours and 16 minutes into the flight now. We should be down within the next 30 minutes or so, just under 30 minutes. So a heck of a long flight. This is actually the second longest flight I've ever done in the sim. I did do a 15-hour and 15-minute flight before, but for some reason, I can't actually remember where it was. It was definitely Dubai, and I think it was to Seattle, but I don't remember it fully. So I'm kind of going to pretend that this is my longest flight now, even though it may be my second longest flight, because I'll remember this route. So yes, we can do the descent checklist now. I'll stop warbling on about all of that, and let's go down and have a look at the the descent checklist. So the first thing to do is to check the recall. Of course, I've gone down to the view, and now I need to go back up again. We'll press recall, and there's nothing coming up on the upper iCastle warning, so that is good. Notes are checked. We've got no notes today whatsoever. Auto brake, we're going with 2, so as I said, we can hopefully vacate by Sierra 6. Landing data VREF is 141 now. That's actually just changed, so we will update that. And the minimums are 306. The approach briefing, I talked about that earlier on. It is completed. It's the Drake 1 Alpha arrival into ILS for 05 right, and then we are parking on stand Delta 7. So that is the descent checklist completed. We'll get that off the screen now. Let me just bring the yokes back up. They can get out of the way, and then let's reset our MCP altitude. Of course, I've completely forgotten what the final approach fix is. It's 1,600. Obviously, if we had ATC, we'd be cleared down to something a bit different than 1,600 straight away, but we don't have any ATC, unfortunately, and so it will just be straight down to 1,600 there, like so. And then we are ready for descent. Not too much for us else to do. Do a PA to the passengers, or, you know, let them know that we are finally on our way down now after such an absolutely ginormous flight. I think everybody deserves a medal who's in economy if they've managed to survive this kind of a flight length, because it's pretty darn crazy. Anyway, I'm not going to show top of descent. I'll show it in a time lapse again like I usually do, but I won't come back for top of descent. I'll join you guys when we get back near to our arrival, once we're through 10,000 feet, and so we can do the approach phase of the flight. So I will see you down there, guys. Enjoy the descent. Welcome back to the sim again, as we are now in well to our approach. I'm getting a warning straight away telling me that my speed brake is extended. Just need to bring that speed back again. It was starting to climb a bit. We've got a bit of a tailwind, about an 11 knot tailwind at the second. We're on the downwind leg for Taiwan at the second, runway 05 right, as I've said many times before. Just really need to be watching that speed. I'm going to bring out some speed brakes once again, because it's just starting to want to creep over that 250 restriction. We've got 32 nautical miles to go. Should be down within the next 7 minutes or so from now. Everything is looking good. We can do the approach checklist now, actually. The transition level... Oh my gosh, it's still beeping at me. Sorry. The transition level was flight level 130. So I set the QNH, which is 1022. And so that's the approach checklist completed. That can go into there like so. Obviously, the passenger signs are on and everything, ready for landing now. And it shouldn't be too long until we get on the ground. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to manually bring out the speed brake instead of going to like the full length of it, and seeing if that helps us out. We will need to slow down soon, but we will be turning for that base leg, and so that will surely help us out there. Nose is going to drop actually here, and it's still telling me... I don't like that warning that it keeps coming up and telling me the speed brake's extended. I know the speed brake is extended. I want the speed brake to be extended, 777. Okay, here we go with the big left-hand turn onto onto the base leg even, apologies. Although it's night time, it still does look very, very, very nice out the window. I love the night lighting in P3D. It's something quite special. And it looks like the localizer has kind of come alive, so once we've made this initial turn, we will arm the localizer and make sure to get that into place. Still got 25 nautical miles left to go, not too long. That's actually just gone down to 22 nautical miles, and apparently we're a bit high, so I imagine that rate of descent is just going to increase a tad. Tell you what, let's arm the localizer now, and then we're going to go speed intervene, and let's bring the speed back down to 210 just to help us out a bit. We've still got that speed brake out just to help us slow down a bit. I'm not too sure what airport that is directly below me at the second. Apparently it's RCPO, which is Hisinju Aero, according to Aivlasoft. Apologies for my pronunciation of that. And let's just go flaps 1 now, just to help it come back into order. Everything's looking good. We can bring the speed brake back in entirely now, because the speed's coming back nicely. We're back on that VNAV profile, so everything is looking fine and dandy for the ILS approach. I do apologise once again that we are at night time for the arrival, but we're not too far off an Ava Air. So Ava Air, which who are based, I think, at Taiwan, also operate this route in a 777, and they literally just landed about 3 minutes ago, so I wasn't too far off their scheduling anyway. I need to make sure I bring that heading round as well. I don't want to forget that it will latch onto it when the localizer comes alive, but everything apart from that is good. Speed's coming back nicely now. Don't know why I left it at 210 or 212 even. I don't really use the specific flap speeds too much. I just seem to have the generic figures that I kind of go for, you know, like 210, 180 and then 160 and everything. Just always done it that way. Don't know why. I don't know if it's a bad habit. Making the right turn to Hukou, I think. Yeah, Hukou, where we've got to be above 4,000 feet, which we are. So we've met that restriction, or we should meet that restriction. That's in about 2 nautical miles. And then we will be turning on to finals and getting ready to put this baby down on the ground. We've got an absolutely huge headwind of about 23 knots, so it shouldn't be a problem for us to slow down once we get onto finals. I won't rush it too much. There we go. Localizer's come alive now, and you'll see the heading switch round to 053. So we'll click approach mode, get a little lag spike as the scenery just loads in once again. I have to say that the performance here at Taiwan is absolutely phenomenal. You can see how long this flight has been running now, and my sim's been, you know, obviously open for the entire time. And my VAS, just before I, started recording this section, I checked, was only at 72%. Of course, a lot of that flight was, over the Pacific Ocean, but still, amazing performance. Right, we've got the message on the upper ICAS that the cabin is ready. I've brought the speed back down to 180 knots now, 30 nautical miles to go. We are established on the localizer, and we're just waiting for that glide slope to come in. And we're going to select flaps 5 as well. Beautiful views out the window. Very excited to land this aircraft here at Taiwan. This is my first ever landing here, so it should hopefully be a good one. Let's bring out a bit of speed brakes just to help us. I did think it wasn't going to be too much of a worry to bring that speed down, but with the headwind that we've got, but it seems to just want to be taking its time, which is fine. We're in no rush. There's no other aircraft around or anything at the minute. We won't be disturbed. Or at least I hope we won't. And then when we catch on to that glide slope, we'll reset the MCP altitude to our missed approach altitude, which is 3,000 feet. And then we'll also take gear down and flaps 20. Just about to come in. You can see it here on the PFD. Not too far away from catching bang into it now, but we've had a nice approach. It's been a pretty simple one. We just let the aircraft do its own thing, manage the speed, keep an eye on the controls, make sure that everything is running dandy, which it is.
Radio altimeter.
Speed's back now to 180, which is absolutely perfect. And as I said, when we catch onto the glide slope, gear down, flaps 20, and we'll also bring our speed back to 160 then as well. 8 nautical miles to go. Everything is looking good. That's the message telling us that it's 1,000 feet until we're level, but we won't need to worry about that again because the glide slope will take control in a minute. Taking a while though to go in. Tell you what we'll do. We'll bring the speed back now and see if that helps us. We'll go gear down flaps 20 now and just see if that helps us cross over that line, because it for some reason really isn't liking wanting to catch onto the glide slope at the second. You can see there it's just teetering on it. Runway is in sight though. There it is. There we go. Now we've got it. Right, glide slope is captured just about. That was very close. 1,600 was our final approach fix. So we'll reset that now. That can go over to there. Let's pop the runway turn-off lights on. And we'll bring down the rest of the flaps as well. And go back. Our VREF speed again is now 140. So we're going to be going with 145. Even though we've got a very strong headwind. So it should probably be a bit faster than that. But it shouldn't be a problem whatsoever. We're going to arm the speed brake as well, and then we'll have a look at the landing checklist, which is speed brakes armed, landing gear is down, flaps 30. We are clear to land runway 05 right. 14 hours and 44 minutes in the air, and we are finally ready to get this bird down on the ground. So I'll take out the autopilot, take out the warning message as well, and then we can get ourselves ready to go. Going to watch that speed a bit. I think if I bring the nose down we should be okay, but this 23 knot headwind is just wanting to drag that nose a bit. It's also taking me off the localizer a bit, so we're just going to make sure that the auto throttle doesn't want to kill us too much, but I don't really want to be going so far below the glide slope that then we have to pitch up too far. We're okay at the second though, even though we may be slightly off the flight director. We've got 2 red and 2 white on the Pappies, and I'm happy with where we are at the minute. It's just the wind that's, you know, keeping us guessing.
Approaching 06.
A little high now and a little fast. This is the thing. This is, you know, this is when the 777 can get slippery. Is that you just, you know, hold an angle for it just a tiny bit too long and it will suddenly, you know, go fast and show you how high you've got. And now we've got, you know, 4 white. So we are rather high. But that's fine. We can just bring the nose down. Everything's okay with speed. I'm really not too worried about that at the minute.
500.
Just keep that nose down. A lot of turbulence on finals, but it's testing us, which I think is good. Got a very long runway, so I'm really not too worried about the 4 white whatsoever.
Plus 100.
Trying to keep it centered as well, which is easier said than done. Decision height, we are continuing with this approach. We may be high, but it's fine. We can draw that back. There we go. Now we're fine. Speed's a little high, but it's not too bad.
50. 30. 20. 10.
Idle the throttles. There we go. We're down. Nice. Nice soft derotation. Reverse thrust is green. 70 knots, auto brake can be disarmed. 60 knots, reverses can be stowed. And there we have it. An interesting approach, but the touchdown was okay, which is the most important thing. That headwind really helped us slow down as well. Beautiful stuff. And as I hoped we would, with auto brake 2, we have got plenty of time to vacate at Sierra 6, which I talked about a little earlier on in our planning. So welcome to Taiwan. We have arrived. We have arrived successfully. Thank goodness for that. Right, let's turn the taxi lights on. The strobe lights can go off, as can the landing lights. APU can come online now. We've got the logo lights on. Auto brake, flaps can come up. Speed brake can go in as well. We can take ourselves off of the squawk there. And then we're going to take this first left onto Sierra 2. Let's stop the clock. 14 hours and 47 minutes flight time. My gosh, that is a marathon of a flight. Definitely one of my longest ever. But I highly recommend picking up this scenery. The night lighting's okay. It definitely does look better in the day, but I just prefer that at any scenery, to be quite honest. But it's still fun to come and do the approach chat, and it's not too bad in terms of the night lighting. We'll see what it's like up close when we park, obviously. I'm going to turn off those flight directives because I certainly don't need those anymore. They can get out of the way. And then I think that's everything that I need to do. Apologies for the little lag spikes here and there. Performance is looking good though. Anyway, right, whilst we are just making our way taxiing down here, let's have a look at the gates for GSX. So we're going for Delta 7. And we don't want to follow me because I know my way there thanks to beloved Aivlasoft. Ah, handling by China Airlines. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. I didn't even realise that was going to be a thing, I promise you. Okay, we're taking the next left here, which is going to be onto Whiskey Charlie. Oh, sorry, the next left, next right even. Can't even get those correct. Just going to have another look outside. Absolutely beautiful. There's the taxi cam view. Excuse my terrible turning in this 777. Talked about it earlier on, and I've talked about it previously in videos that I'm still struggling. Even though I know what to do, I just don't seem to do it. What a beauty. What an absolute beauty. Okie dokie. Continue on in the flight deck, and I'll tell you what, runway turnoffs can come off now. We don't need those anymore. We're nowhere near the runway. APU's up and running, which is nice to see. So that is good. And then, yeah, we've not got too far now. So the next right that comes up will continue us onto Whiskey Charlie, and then we'll be taking, as I said, stand Delta 7. Still got plenty of fuel left, 14.2 tons. So, you know, not worried about that one whatsoever. But I like taking a good bit of extra fuel just in case. I think we took about 17 hours worth of fuel in the aircraft, so we definitely could have flown for a bit longer. Not that I would have liked to, though. I think this flight length is long enough for me. Okie dokie, here's the right hand turn to continue on. Slow the aircraft down before we make it. Don't want to be going around it too fast. And there's our stand. I can just see GSX in the distance. Excuse me, almost stopping the aircraft once again. See, I went too slow there. I tried to keep the throttles in. That's the thing. Even if I get the turning circle relatively okay, it's the throttles as well. I'm still learning, I guess. Which is pretty bad for how long I've had this aircraft. There it is, Delta 7. Right, let's turn the taxi light off now. I don't really want to be blinding the poor guy at GSX. Delta 7 is identified on the bottom there. Can we see the marshaller? I don't think we can, but we've got the safe dock system, so that should sort us out anyway. Once again, just slowing down too much on that turn. Here we go, the last bit of tarmac. Oh, I did that turn onto the stand terribly. I apologise. There we go. Cheating by doing it outside, but frankly, I don't really care. I'm not going to worry too much about that. And here we go. Parking brake is set. APU is running. The the fuel controls can finally go off. The G90s did their job with a block time of 15 hours and 5 minutes. Of course, I've accidentally reset it there, but you saw it. It was 15 hours and 5 minutes of a block time, which is absolutely unreal. Right, let's pop the dome light on now. We're going to turn the beacon light off. My gosh, that is bright. That woke me up. And the seatbelt sign can come off as well. Let's get rid of the hydraulics. Apparently, the right ELEC always goes off last, so I'll turn that off. Fuel pumps can come off as well, as can the packs. APU is running, so that's fine at the second. And then let's completely turn the squawk off. We'll go to ground connections, get some wheel chocks in place. I'll attach the power, the ground power and everything, but I won't do it at the minute. And then let's request deboarding. So doors, disarm, disarm, and disarm, open, open, open. I don't know if the jetways work here. I don't think they do. Maybe they do, actually. I'm not too sure if that moves. No, I don't think it does. Apparently it wasn't a very good parking, but screw you, GSX. Then again, none of my parkings are ever that good. Right, let's do the shutdown checklist, which should just be the parking brake. So hydraulic panel, fuel pumps, flaps, parking brake, fuel control switches, and weather radar are all off. And that is the shutdown checklist complete. And there we go, my friends. I'm terribly skew-whiff, I think, on the parking, but that's nothing new for me, in all honesty. We have arrived safely down in Taiwan. What a flight, what a flight. A thoroughly enjoyable one. We took off with the sun shining, a bit of interesting weather over San Francisco and just departing out of it. A lot of cloud, but really nice calm conditions here apart from that, you know, really strong headwind. But it helped us get off the runway quicker and get these passengers to the gate even quicker. And there we go. I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching it. To those of you who are here to the end of the video, that's very much appreciated. Please don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel as well. It's most definitely appreciated. We are on the road to 2,000 subscribers now, which is absolutely amazing support. If you want to see more full flight videos, please let me know in the comment section below. It always motivates me to make more when I see you guys enjoying them. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you again soon. Happy landings.